can nullify the Xinjiao. So I'd go with the eSuba, solely based on how they played the previous game and how they set up this one.
Well, eSuba did have a very solid performance against ANC Outplay. We'll see whether they can make it 2-4-2 for the Hit Point Masters #2 seed, facing off against the Greek #1 seed.
All right, and here we go. Let's see how the vision pays off in the early game. Not very much so far. We have a defensive ward on the bot side from WLGaming. They don't want to play around early invasions. This is understandable considering the Rel and the Zoe, two champions that have a very good lockdown chain at level 1 if they start with their lockdown abilities and an ignite on the Rel. So you just want to play this bot lane in the more easy possible way with the Jinx fairly outranging the Xayah, so you can play around the scaling of the Jinx in a safe way, ignoring the Rel as much as you can in the 2v2 in the bot side. But this will unleash the Rel around the map, so you have to face the double proxying from FGG and things that was kind of weird to look at in the previous game, because we saw this support and this jungler. Oh my, never mind.
Oh, Daddy flashing forward again is literally the previous game all over again. Daddy is just so eager to flash forward aggressively, but unlike in the previous game, Jairus will flash defensively and no first blood for Danny.
Milk it, that's not a safe lane. That's not how Jinx and Rakan wanted to play the lane. Half the HP bar from the Jinx and all of her health pots gone at level 1 at the first minute. That's impending doom.
Yes, I'm already hearing the bells calling Tings 3 kills for you in the bottom lane. And we'll see how eSuba want to play around this flashless Jinx. Something to mention though, the cleanse is still available for Jairus, so still does have some defensive tools at their disposal.
I agree with the definition of some defensive tool, considering a lot of the CC from the Rel are not cleansable. The important part of that cleanse is to cleanse up the Ignite as well from the Rel, to limit the kill potential from the enemy dual lane, the 2v2. And now with the trade 1 at level 1, the 2v2 is on the side of eSuba.
And FGG still has both summoners available. So Jairus is never really safe because that's a very big engage range that the Rel has at their disposal. As that was a really cool kind of cosmetic around the Rupture from the Cho'Gath. I quite like that skin.
Yeah, that's the very Dark Soulish skin line, right? Just released. I love that.
Oh, is it a new skin?
Yeah, that is the latest one, the Broken Pact Cho'Gath.
Ah, that is very cool. It almost, I can't remember what spell it's reminding me of. It almost kind of looks a little bit like a Sleepy Travel Bubble once it's kind of landed on the floor.
Agree on that one. Now, face off between Tinks and Bruness.
Tinks is going to have to agree that Bruness is going to be getting this Scuttlecrab because into the river he goes, and Danny and FGG being zoned away, so it is WLGaming who have priority in the bottom lane, and Bruness will be able to pick up the bottom side Scuttlecrab, and Tinks is just going to have to make his way over to the top side.
And now, top side trades. I give you my HP, you gave me your HP, nice knockup!
Oh, there's a Rupture! Flash away, flash forward! The healing's just about enough, but Tinks is making his way up, and well, the Cho'Gath is going to have to be careful. Ward hop forward. Surely this is a kill for Tinks. There is no way for Zero to outplay this. One more auto. Okay, maybe 2 more autos is going to seal the deal, and Tinks gets the kill.
Unfortunately for Babista, there's no assist from him, but that's also free time in lane against the Cho'Gath. So you're fine with that. The Lee Sin helps the top lane crash out the waves on the enemy side, but that's not a complete crash. So
we might be having some issues with the replay screen.
That's the Nocturne ult.
It was a Nocturne ult, yes. You know, in the previous game, we saw Tinks topside killing an R. Now we're seeing him killing a Cho'Gath. You want to know how the dinosaurs went extinct? It was Tinks.
Oh my god. How dare you, Tinks? How dare you do
I love dinosaurs.
Gruesome. Hard to agree on that one as well. But that's the first blood on the Lee Sin, and if you want to kickstart your jungle to better face the Xinjiao, a first blood on the Lee Sin, you don't care giving the Sion the assist. It's a Scion. He will scale nonetheless. So just keep the first blood on your Lee Sin. Just keep the topside pressure up, and then play with your lane pressure and just zone out that bubble. Connect.
Very nice bubble, but nice two-man knockup then comes
Very nice
from the Rakan.
Hitbox, to be fair.
Also, it was a very, it was like, I think it was a max range bubble, as now eSuba coming into the mid lane, and well, Vladdy ends up having to flash everything out to safety, but that is now a victor without flash and without teleport as well.
The top side again, we have trade from Zero. Very nice trade, very nice knowledge of the matchup against the Scion. We have the farm advantage, we have the Cho'Gath that can replenish his life bar and mana bar with his passive, so it's, despite the first blood on the enemy jungle, pretty good top side for WLGaming. They will bot scale up, so it's not something that will bother Bobista more than it's doing right now. And 280 carry, free farming on the bot side. Despite the first trade, Jinx is in farm lead.
Yeah, a few CS up. I don't know if there's a wave that's about to crush under Danny's tower, but either way, relatively even, and now potentially Drake being started up here for the side of eSuba, just like they were able to do in the previous game against ANC out.
ANC, well, collapsed against a snowball from things that was impossible to manage. Here we don't have the snowball zone for the Lee Sin, but we have the Lee Sin playing very well around his lane pressure.
Oh
boy!
What a steal!
GG!
GG. That's mental advantage. Mental advantage for WLGaming.
Not the best Drake in single copy for them. That's not a lot of regeneration, but I know that's a pretty good usage for Jinx ult.
I think that's a very good usage for Jinx ult. I don't think there's anything else that Jairus was going to be doing. I'm now fully expecting, you know, teams to be extremely mad at coming down to the bottom lane, but Jairus has flash back up as well. Cleanse is available, so that window where Jinx was rather vulnerable has now kind of disappeared.
Also, there's nothing more in the eSuba timestamp and gold lead than the first blood. You have 400 gold lead, and that's the first blood. So the passive game from WLGaming, despite the early difficulties, it's very good. They are nullifying their opponent's attempt to snowball the game. They are playing pretty well around the Bruness. They took the dragon, so they even nullified the rotation from the mid lane. And now talking about the mid lane.
No, was he taking a fair bit of damage, and in goes Tinks. Paddlestar not going to be able to land, and both junglers will just have to back away from the play.
Just a couple of seconds from Tinks' flash, so there wasn't an angle for the insect for him. But now they are trying to crush the wave. Bruness is still there, now back in the jungle. In the bot side, Jinx is trying to reset, but now that you see this engage, careful
for the
Vods!
ignite, and that's enough damage for Banana to pick up the kill, courtesy of the ignite burn. So 1 kill to 1 now.
And a free mid lane for the victor. That's all you wanted from that roaming from Bananito. Again.
Very aggressive now, again going over the wall. Finds the charm as well, followed by Bruness. Surely FGG falls. Bruness will be able to get the kill now. 2 kills versus 1 for WLGaming. As Zero just looking for a potential opportunity. Just gets a knockup just to slow Bobista down. And WLG now turn their attention towards the Rift Herald.
We are 9 minutes into the game. It's time for the mid-game snack for the Cho'Gath. That's an Herald, that's a free stack you add on top of the one you can take on the minions. So Cho'Gath is more than happy to rotate in this stage of the game. Alright, I was looking at the Herald distribution. Bruness took the Herald Eye, so it's now up to him to decide where to allocate the lane pressure. Considering how well the top side is doing, I don't think that's a stage of the game where you want to put more resources into the Cho'Gath. You can just rotate that Herald to the bot side and try to put a kickstart on the Jinx to Xayah matchup.
Well, WLG will be relatively happy with their game state. Now, less than 2 minutes until the next Drake, and, well, we'll see whether WLG can actually fully contest that, or whether there'll be another steal attempt from a rogue Jinx rocket. Sleeping Trouble Bubble lands, and now the follow-up from the rest of eSuba. Absolutely nothing the Rakan can do, and Tinks will get his vengeance.
And this is what we were talking about during the draft. The pickup potential that the Zoe abilities through her bubbles. You just have a very easy follow-up on a bubble. You have the Rel, you have the Lysine, you know that Tinks and FGG want to play duo procs. You've taken a high wave clear ADC for this. So you already know from draft that the Xayah want to play his independent lane and just let the support play them up with the Lysine.
And this all comes back down to what you were talking, Red, before with regards to vision control, right? If you've got better vision control as a side of WLG, Rakan doesn't get caught there because he can see the Zoe coming from really far back. If eSuba have less vision control, then Rakan doesn't get caught because they don't know that he's out of position.
And now we have Bananito on the control ward, rotating to the bot side, care for the top lane. The ultimate for the Cho'Gath is up. So there's the kill potential from him.
And it's just hard to tell exactly what is that Feast range, because the side is relatively low, but I don't think Feast is going to do, 600 damage.
And now, well, to be fair, we can see now the execution range from the Cho'Gath ultimate on the health bar of his opponents. Right now is 400 damage. 400 damage to the champions, so Bobista was pretty fine on the top side. Now, back with his ultimate on the lane, he doesn't want to waste his teleport. Scouting ultimate from Jinx. Things tank it, and they are trying to play around the mid lane. Very good bubble. Alright, so the Syndrome doesn't connect this one. He pressed the first Q, he didn't press the second Q? What kind of sorcery is that?
It's unbelievable. Next thing, there's going to be Thrashes who don't follow their death sentence, and Nautiluses who are queuing on cooldown.
Impossible. I won't believe it.
I had a solo queue game earlier where a Nautilus did a level 1 dive, and he tried to hook, and he missed the hook. But if he had landed the hook, he would have gone under tower and died. So it was very, very sad.
Yeah. the outskill button. Now, considering, talking about outskill button, on the top side, his Zero, despite being killed in lane from the Lee Sin, is playing a very good lane. And now we have Bananito completely zoning out the Rel and maybe killing the Rel.
Under tower as well, WLG just have a no issue whatsoever with following up on the engage. Kings have to be careful as Rakan tries to follow up with a grand entrance. Put to sleep, Sonic Wave misses. Jairus is feeling aggressive, can't land the Mega Death Rocket. Now Danny showing up as well, just throwing out some feathers as WLG continue to push forward in the mid lane. Vods is so low! But that's that flash forward double kill! Jairus is feeling himself! What a play from WLG! 3 kills in a few seconds.
To think of a play like this between two turrets at the 13 minutes into the game from a Jinx? That's incredible playstyle from WLGaming. They sure love gaming when they're playing like that.
They absolutely love gaming, and they're definitely gaming with that. Thankfully, we get a replay of this, because I want to see how they get the initial kill onto Tinks.
It was... this is the first part of the action. The ult goes wide, and then we just have the Jinx with the Zapper and a couple of autos. It was an easy one.
It's just Tinks just massively disrespecting Jairus completely.
Yeah, and that's weird, because that's the same Tinks that just won a game on his own.
Well, that's what happens when you're not on Gragas with the massive outplay R button. That being said, Tinks did have a very, very good game. There's still a while left to go in this game. That being said, a 3k goal lead for WLG. They love gaming, they love Drakes, because this is their second of the game.
Against, we have the Cloud Drake, so we have a team that is snowballing the map, taking more resources for the move speed around the lanes, around the rotations. Talking about rotations, this lane phase should be now over with the fall of the plates, but the duo lane from eSuba is struggling, it's just struggling to play around the map. You are trying to play around the duo procs from Tinks and FGG, but the way the jungle is in hasn't paid off so far for eSuba is slowing down their macro entrance from the early game to the mid game, And if you lose your map control, you can't play around the Zoe. You don't have that much angles to play around the bubbles. You don't have that much of a peak potential against the enemy team. We have a 005 Victor in the mid lane, pretty well farmed with already his Liandry. And on top of that, the Kraken Slayer on the Jinx. WLG have tons of damage if they want to teamfight.
And Jairus, courtesy of those 2 kills, first tower as well, now has a 1k gold over Danny. Kraken Slayer completed, picking up the BS sword, presumably going to go towards that Infinity Edge. And fed Jinxes, or even slightly fed Jinxes, are so scary. They do so much damage, and when you look at this composition from WLG, if they can find that first kill and get this Jinx excited in a team fight, it's going to be so tricky for eSuba to contest.
Not only that, if we look at how the Jinx is going to play this game, there's always the menace of the resets during the teamfight, so you're not just killing your opponents if the teamfights break out, but you are just putting the eSuba away from the teamfight range. That Jinx can frontline as much as the previous Spike Shield Gragas we saw. If you are there, the enemy team can't fight. And this is what's happening around this Herald. The second Herald is completely free for WLG, because eSuba knows that they can't play around the Jinx resets even against the objectives. So you can't play objectives, you can't play around turrets. You have to find a miracle right now to jump back into the game, but considering the engages, here we
they're
go.
looking for a miracle, and WLG have found an engage. 1-2 kills going their way. King's ward hopping his way out to safety, but where does he go from now? Needs to get a safeguard off his side, but it won't come off cooldown in time. And the side of WLGaming say thank you very much for 3 kills.
In the meanwhile, on the top side, a free turret for the Cho'Gath, double for Bloody, now 206 on the Victor, 204 on the Jinx, 204 on the Xin Zhao. The WLG lineup is on fire.
A really good start to the game, a good start to the tournament for WLGaming, and we saw in the previous game between eSuba and ANC Outplayed, yes, eSuba did well, but we were saying what happens really if a team contests them in the early stages of the game, and now we're seeing that, and the answer is they can't do much.
They're trying to control their map to play around the scaling of the Xayah. I know that's a game plan, but that's a game plan that soon has to face a Jinx. We talked about the scaling, and we talked about scaling. What does it mean? If you have a big number, or if you can output your big numbers. And the short range of the Xayah, even if you try to play around his scaling, is not that good against the Jinx. It's just one single auto from the Fishbone to start up the teamfight, and if that Fishbone crits on the Kraken Slayer, on the IE that Jinx is about to complete in his inventory, then the fight is basically over. You have so much more range with the Fishbone.
Yeah. With that being said, you remember what Jinx's other gun is called?
That's the Pow Pow.
Pow Pow, yes. Pow,
the minigun.
Minigun and a rocket launcher. It's, I mean, when you kind of think about it, it's kind of insane that she has a rocket launcher and she, like, can throw out the rockets consistently. It's
a very rapid rocket launcher, yeah.
Yeah.
How fast is he at she at recharging the rockets? Or is he a kind of Thompson gun rocket launcher with a lot of rockets inside it?
So, okay, so my question for you is, what do you think Jinx's attack speed is currently? And what do you think it changes to when she switches to Fishbones?
Well, she has little tempo, so right now, if her passive stacks up, she can easily reach 2.4, 2.8 attack speed during teamfights, with 2 items plus her shoes.
Okay, is this the pick? How did that Sonic Wave land? That was kind of nutty from Tinks, but eSuba can't really follow up on the play, and what could have been a glorious pick possibility for them is sadly wasted.
Yeah, it's risky to play against the Victor under the turret. If the gravitational field locks you up, that's a Victor very close to avoid stuff, so there's a lot of damage coming from him you don't want to underestimate. We saw what happened when eSuba underestimated the Jinx damage. You don't want to repeat the error against the Victor.
And eSuba want to get some control in the river for this Drake. 2 teleports though from WLG, and they want to make sure they make their way onto Cloud Soul Point. And with Banana 2 on this Rakan, having a Cloud Soul for those engages is going to be so lovely.
Having a Cloud Soul for the engages, having a Cloud Soul for the rotation, having the Soul Point which breaks the map in two with the Cho'Gath, so you can always play around the objectives. Another stack for the Cho'Gath for the record, and I've lost track. That's 8 stack Cho'Gath. 1 stack is on Sion, 1 stack is on the first Herald, 1 stack is on Drake. So this Cho'Gath still has room to farm the minions with his R and get stacks. That's a 74 stacks on his Heartsteel, and I'm so happy that we are seeing the Heartsteel Cho'Gath used in competitive play.
Oh, we get the breakdown as well. So 1 dragon, 2 from Epic Monsters. I do like a little bit of Cho'Gath, and I remember, I think it was Dem talking about it on the analyst test, the fact that FGG's rel was, maybe it was Dem or maybe it was Doctor who was talking about it, that it was a bit disrespectful to pick rel because it's not, you know, a meta support right now. We tend to see more of the Leonas, the Thresh, whatever it is. Is this now FGG being punished for this aggressive pick, let's say?
Well, for sure he's being punished for his aggressiveness, considering that now you have to play with the intent of snowballing the map, but not the abilities to snowball the map. All the duo lane pressure into duo proxying support jungle is gone for eSuba. So, more than the pick himself, I think that WLG are punishing the aggressive intent from eSuba. They are punishing their attempt to snowball them up.
Absolutely, and now WLG looking at potentially taking this Baron. Just had a quick run over to the top side, almost catching out a couple of the members of eSuba who were just about able to slither their way out to safety, but nice 5k goal lead for the side of WLG. And even if they can't get the Baron right here, Kenran, they can just wait a few minutes, pick up Cloud Soul, and then wait until they're a little bit stronger, and then just rush down the Baron, because this Jinx is really strong.
Another thing to point out about the FGG rel is that the FGG rel is third most played champion during the regular season, has an exact 50% win rate. So, if you won the previous match, you have to lose this one, because the God of Stats doesn't lie. You have to keep that perfect 50%. Look at Rakan!
Banana 2 finding the 2-man CC. Gets taken down though in the process. FGG coming in from the backside with a Magnet Storm, but just has no tankiness at all. Engaged now from the Xin Zhao, finding 1 kill on a 2. Danny, 3 members of eSuba will be able to survive, but it is 2 kills for 1 in favor of WLG.
The 2 kills for 1 is a Baron for WLG, so they are now free to roam around the map. The Sion wave clear is nullified, the Zoe wave clear is non-existent at this point. You have to put all your fishes on your Xayah and try to wave clear as many waves as you can without the favor of the Cloud Drake. Also, another neutral stack for the Cho'Gath, so the Cho'Gath is growing big. Very nice engage from the Rakan, a very nice sacrifice considering that they completely nullified the rel on the backside. And the knockup from the Cho'Gath on Danny was marvelous. They managed to completely zone out the DPS from the eSuba lineup, and this is what we were talking about before. How easily can WLG with a map lead punish the short range of the Xayah?
And I'll say during picks and bans, can FGG find those really big rel engages? And that was a really big rel engage. The issue was eSuba just had no way of following up on it.
Exactly. It's something that is really painful for them to adjust to, because they are trying to play against this playstyle from WLG, but WLG are just too safe and have too many damage. The victory is paying off perfectly for them right now.
Drake does offer a lot of zone control as well, and now WLG just looking to siege in the top lane. Meanwhile, Zero just pushing in the mid lane, and 4-1 coming through from the side of WLG, but with that Cloud Drake as well, just gives them the ability to rotate between the top and the mid wave so effectively. And now they're looking towards Babista. They find the knock-up, they find the fear, they're finding everything, so much damage, but still a very, very chunky Sion staying alive, and maybe WLG are pushing a bit too far forward. They get the kill onto FGG, looking for Babista as well. Really good blade caller to pull one back for the side of eSuba, as Tinks going a bit too far forward. Battlestar comes through, Tinks is still alive, but so is the side of WLG. 2 for 2, and I think eSuba will be relatively happy with how that one panned out.
I agree on that one, especially considering that the 2 kills went on the Xayah, so you just brought back your bot lane to life. But from things, that jump was so riskful. He basically jumped on the Cho'Gath silence with that huge Cho'Gath on the front line of WLG, with the Jinx still shooting on his weapons. Jinx now with the Phantom Dancer online. And now you're playing for an objective. You want to deny the soul for the enemy team, but you have the Jinx, you have the Scrying Orb, and you have the Cho'Gath with his ultimate up. This is a lost Drake. Never mind. Never mind.
I was going to ask, what does more damage? The Feast or Tinks' Smite? Turns out it's Danny's Blade Caller.
You don't have to do so much damage when you do the right damage. And the Fist is 1.5k damage to objectives. You can't top that. You can't top that with any kind of Smite, Lee Sin Q, Lee Sin Miracle, Lee Sin suddenly appeared mashing gun. You can't even try to make up something that from Lee Sin can be enough against the Cho'Gath.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Against the Cho'Gath, nothing makes more sense.
I'm trying to think if there's anything more disgusting against objectives. I think that is it, but in comes the banana. He finds the charm, a charm onto Desire. Featherstorm comes out good Blade Caller, but goes golden, does the Xin Zhao. 1 kill for nothing so far for the side of WLG. They keep on pushing the minions forward. Now they'll make their slow getaway.
They're keeping the push up with Cho'Gath on the front line. Tinks is trying to position himself for a good angle on the enemy backside. A lot of damage on the Sion, and that's the turret that gets completely melted on the top side.
Ooh, did you see that crit from Fishbones onto FGG? A lot of damage. Still 5 members strong for the side of WLG. And Razi will be spawning up shortly. And on that, Zoe does have the Rabadons available. Brunessa stepping very far forward, looking towards FGG, and Tinks just doesn't really have the damage to contest from this. And here is coming Jairus as well. A very aggressive then from Bruness. Stopped though by Tinks. Drop bubble will now land on it to Zero. eSuba want to go any further. I think they're just going to consume this wave of minions coming their way and not push much further.
No mana for Jairus. This means that Jinx has no rockets left on his side. They are playing for the Baron setup. They're just resecting with a pretty nice deep vision. Not a lot of wards, but you're controlling how eSuba are jumping back on that side of the map. eSuba took the Drake, fortunately, so the bot side is stalled for another 2.5 minutes. But the Baron is up in 40 seconds. And we talked about the deep vision, we talked about how you are controlling the resets on the top side from eSuba. eSuba are losing a lot of time. While the WLGaming just went back to base, filled their inventory with a little bit of lifesteal for the Jinx, a little bit of armor for the Xin Zhao. Just everything you need to navigate the last fight, because the next fight could be the last one for WLGaming. They're 8k ahead of their opponents, and they can play around the objectives with the Cho'Gath.
And eSuba need to find a pick. The issue for them is Jairus now has a stopwatch and has a cleanse. Vladdy also has a Zhonya's Hourglass. So the 2 members for the side of WLG that you want to find picks onto, it's going to be so hard to do that because first you've got to find a pick to break their stasis, and then you've got to find a secondary pick as Babista uses the ult but can't find any targets, and Jairus is just free firing. Takes a lot of damage though from the Paddle Star, and eSuba are going to have to make their exit. Quickness
Care for Bananito here.
Rakan
is trying to find his angle to engage and is trying to just push the enemy team away. It's not that easy against the Rel, we talked about that, but the Rel is very far behind. Sion at half his HP bar, no TP for him. Cho'Gath can just rest on the base and TP for the Baron. The Baron is there, and now we have the engage from Bananito, misses.
Babista forced to flash away all the while. Danny was in the top lane catching the wave. That's why WLG pulled the trigger, and that's why they decided to take the fight. Flash down now for the eSuba top laner. Baron has been started. Coming from the side though is the Cho'Gath. Finds a fear, finds a knock-up onto Babista. Big engagement.
Nice Rel
Where is the follow-up for eSuba? What is Desire doing? Can't do absolutely anything. Grand entrance over the wall, finds a two-man knocker, big blade crawler, but it just is not enough damage for Danny, and it's already 3 kills for the side of WLG. They haven't lost a single member, and Danny now having to practically 1v3 under his inhibitor tower while Tinks is left to do well. He can't do anything except for farm his wolves.
This is so sad to watch, because the engage from eSuba was perfect, but they are so far behind that the perfect engage doesn't mean anything against WLG, and now they are trying to close out the game, and I think they will.
Teleport as well, and our third game of the day will be drawing to a close, and it's going to be WLG picking up their second win and moving to the top of Group C.